Hello, this is Mary Keller Ditta, and I'm looking at how to know God's will through what He says, how to walk in it every day, how to know Him by His will, by what He says. And today, I think this is really a pertinent one in terms of our daily walk with the Lord. So, it's John chapter 21, verses 20 through 25. I'd encourage you to read it on your own and say, what's the most important thing the Lord's trying to tell me through these verses? And what He says to me, He says to all. For He's no respecter of persons. If we seek Him for His will, He will tell us. He doesn't tell us to seek Him without us finding Him. So, John 21, verses 20 through 25. Peter turned and saw that the disciple whom Jesus loved was following them. This was the one who had leaned back against Jesus at the supper and had said, "Lord, who is going to betray you?" When Peter saw him, he asked, "Lord, what about him?" Jesus answered, "If I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You must follow me." Because of this, the rumor spread among the brothers that this disciple would not die. But Jesus did not say that he would not die. He only said, "If I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you?" This is the disciple who testifies to these things and who wrote them down. We know that his testimony is true. Jesus did many other things as well. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that even the whole world would not have room for the books that would be written. So, the situation is that Jesus had said to Peter, and this comes right after Jesus asked Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" And Peter says, "Yes, I do." Well, then Jesus says, "Feed my sheep." And then Jesus says to him, what's going to happen to him? He'll be led where he does not want to go when he is old. Now, the reason I am not focusing on that is because I want to focus on what Jesus did say in regards to his disciples. Because after Jesus tells Peter he's going to go where he does not want to go, then Peter says, "Well, what about him?" And he's referencing John. John's the one, it's the Gospel of John. This is what John wrote down. And Peter says, "Well, what's going to happen to him?" So Jesus' response is very enlightening for us. And we need to take it to our heart and walk in this every day. Because Jesus says to him, "If I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You must follow me." And that's the key. We are not to be concerned about other brothers, other sisters in the Lord, and what God is doing in their life. And that's can be very hard for me sometimes, because I think, well, Lord, why don't you use me like you use them? And I can feel quite useless, like not a very good servant of the Lord. But that's not from the Lord. That criticism of our walk and our comparison of ourselves, to others is not from the Lord, because he says it's not. He says, if I want him to do this, what is that to you? If I am doing this and this person and this and that person and leading that, why are you concerned? You follow me. That is, that's a good news. You follow me. He is the shepherd. We are his sheep. We follow him wherever he leads us. We have the cloud by day and the fire by night. Just like he led through the wilderness, he will lead us through our wilderness. We are his workmanship, and he will do within us as he pleases. All we have to do is follow, and of course not want to sin. So this is good news. We are not to be concerned about how God uses other people, or what he's doing in their lives, or how he blesses them, or how he gives them challenges. We need to only be concerned about our own life, and that we follow him, that I follow him. So the other interesting thing about this passage is, I think it's interesting anyways, because John's saying, well, I'm the one that he's talking about, Well, there's two things here. One is that a rumor spreads that John's not going to die. Jesus is specific. He didn't say that. So that's another thing that people do. We hear things and see things and say things out of context. And Jesus says, don't do that. He says, if I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? He didn't say John was not going to die. So once again, we need to be careful with the words. Words are important. God created everything with words. And then the last thing I really do like this. It's kind of my thought. Maybe you think something different. When John says, Jesus did many other things as well. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that even the whole world would not have room for the books that would be written. I think he's prophesying here, actually, because our lives are written down. There's a book for each one of us, and the work that he does in each life. And so there might be not room. I don't know. Consider all the people that have lived since Adam and Eve. I don't know. Sometimes I think you can figure it out mathematically. It really probably wouldn't be that hard to figure out. But we have a book written about us. I forget, it says it someplace in the Old Testament, and a few times, We know that he puts all our tears in bottles. The point is that he knows us intimately, and we are his sheep, we are his disciples, and our only concern is this day, I will follow you. I will work hard at what my job is, whether it's home or someplace else. I will care for those you have put in my community, whether it's family or co-workers or sales clerks, or I will care for whom I come in contact with. I will love the Lord, and I will bless the Lord at all times, and I will pray always. So that's kind of what I think. I really like this because it encourages me to know that he has, this is that whole idea. He has a plan for each life. He has a plan for my life. He has a plan for your life. It really doesn't have to be really anything really great. Or it might be. We don't know. Our only job. It's one of the things I like about this series, The Chosen, if you haven't watched it, is that you really get the idea that the disciples began to understand that they didn't have to have their life all planned out. Their only job each day was to follow him and to do whatever he commanded them to do that day. It's the same for us. So, thank you for watching, for listening. Subscribe if you like if you like, share if you like, comments, have something to say that's related to this. And pray always, really. Pray. Be near to him, and he is near to you.